President Biden has said global challenges can only be solved by nations working together in his first major foreign policy speech. But he said he would impose costs on Russia for its actions. The Republican member of the US House of Representatives, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has expressed regret for past incendiary comments and support for conspiracy theories. Her comments come as lawmakers vote on whether to strip her of committee assignments. The US State Department has called for serious consequences for China after a BBC report alleging women were systematically raped and tortured in Uyghur re-education camps. But China has called the report lies and disinformation. And the Brazilian mining firm Vale has agreed to pay $7 billion in damages over the collapse of a dam 2 years ago. 270 people were killed when it unleashed a torrent of toxic mud.
Myanmar's military overthrows the country's democratic government and detains leader Aung San Suu Kyi and other politicians. In Somalia, at least 9 people, including an army general, were killed Sunday in a rebel attack on a hotel in Mogadishu. Vietnam's President Nguyen Phu Trong defends his fight against corruption after being named to a rare third term as Communist Party secretary. And Japanese manufacturers are increasing the production of freezers to store COVID-19 vaccines as the government plans to vaccinate medical workers by late February.
The military leaders in Myanmar say they plan to hold a general election 6 months after the current state of emergency expires. That suggests it doesn't plan to hand over power until at least August of 2022. Myanmar's national broadcaster, MRTV, on Thursday morning reported remarks by the military's senior general Min Aung Hlaing, who took charge following the coup. He said preparations for the election will take until 6 months, 6 months after the end of the one-year state of emergency. Meanwhile, the National League for Democracy says a Myanmar court has granted permission for the detention of Aung San Suu Kyi and President Win Min until February 15th. Aung San Suu Kyi is reportedly facing accusations of illegally importing handheld radios and using them without permission. Win Min is charged with violating coronavirus restrictions by meeting with supporters ahead of last November's general election. Both are reportedly under house arrest. An expert on Myanmar politics says the military had prepared the charges beforehand.
Even a child can tell that they are really trumped up charges, But they've done this before for many years. It's very plain that they want these 2 people out of the way when the elections are coming.
Meanwhile, Myanmar's Ministry of Transportation and Communication on Wednesday ordered communication companies to block Facebook until February 7th. As a reason, it said that false information that could mislead the public and instigate unrest is spreading through Facebook. Many people in Myanmar communicate through social media, including information on some kinds of protests. Thi Ha-Thuy in Yangon has more.
People were complaining on Thursday morning that they could not access Facebook as usual. The platform is also used for suggestions and sharing technical advice. One user says Facebook is the first source of information in Myanmar and that everyone uses it. Despite the disruptions in the service, people are trying to cope with the situation by turning to other social media platforms like Twitter. Healthcare workers gathered in Yangon and began singing a song that refers to not forgetting repressions, Kaba Machebu. Others are chanting that the military dictatorship must fail and long live Aung San Suu Kyi. Tuesday night's protests featuring the banging of pots and pans went on longer and was louder than before. The noise-making protest will continue. Thi Ha-Thuy, NHK World, Yangon.
The leaders of the United States and South Korea have agreed to work closely on North Korea and have confirmed the importance of trilateral cooperation with Japan. President Joe Biden and President Moon Jae-in held their first telephone conversation since Biden's inauguration last month. The White House says during the talks, Biden stressed his commitment to strengthening the bilateral alliance. It says the leaders agreed on the need for the immediate restoration of democracy in Myanmar and to closely coordinate on North Korea. South Korea's presidential office says Biden promised close cooperation when Moon proposed that the two countries make joint efforts to denuclearize the Korean peninsula. It says the leaders also committed to improving South Korea-Japan relations, which have soured in recent years. They said strengthening trilateral cooperation is important for regional peace and prosperity. Now to the coronavirus situation here in Japan. Confirmed new cases in Tokyo on Thursday stand at 734. The daily number has been under 1,000 for 7 days in a row. But experts are calling for continued vigilance as more elderly people are getting infected. Officials and experts discussed the situation in the capital. The experts highlighted a rise in new cases among elderly people. A quarter of newly infected people are 65 or older.
More elderly people are contracting the virus because of clusters of infections at hospitals and care homes, and transmission from members of the same households. We need extreme vigilance.
This facility for the elderly in Tokyo had a COVID cluster. 30 residents and staff members tested positive. Some infected residents had to stay here as no hospital could be found to take them.
The staff needs to be in direct contact with residents for long periods, so there's a high level of risk. Some people have pre-existing conditions, so it's preferable for them to go into hospitals as soon as possible.
Preparations for the rollout of coronavirus vaccines are underway across the country. The government plans to start by inoculating medical workers. A freezer to store vaccines arrived at this hospital.
All we need now is the vaccine to arrive. I'm quite excited to take a part in the first vaccinations.
Across Japan, officials confirmed about 2,500 new cases on Thursday and 104 deaths. The number of patients in serious condition stands at 892. Meanwhile, the National Police Agency says criminal offenses in Japan fell to a new post-war low last year as more people stayed home during the pandemic. But suspected cases of child abuse exceeded 100,000 for the first time. Experts say the actual number may be higher. They say signs of abuse have become harder to spot as children are being kept indoors. The head of the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics Organizing Committee has apologized for controversial comments suggesting that women talk too much in meetings. But Mori says he has no intention of resigning.
What I have said was inappropriate and goes against the spirit of the Olympics and Paralympics. To that end, I deeply regret what I have done, and I want to retract my remark, and I'll apologize to the people who were annoyed by what I said.
Mori's comments sparked a media firestorm, but at the time garnered little response from other members of the Japan Olympic Committee. The sports body has made it a goal to have at least 40% female board members. At a meeting Wednesday, Mori told his peers that having too many women on a board lengthens meetings because as soon as one talks, they all want to. When word got out, many were outraged, prompting calls for Mori's resignation to go viral.
It was frustrating that he put it that way. Japan's equal employment law should have improved the issues of gender inequality. It is totally wrong for the head of an organization to make such a remark.
The minister in charge of the Games spoke to Mori earlier Thursday at the urging of the Prime Minister. Hashimoto Seiko said she told him he never should have made the remarks. She went on to say that gender equality is enshrined in the Olympic Charter and must be protected. News of Mori's apology reached the International Olympic Committee, which told media it considers the issue closed. In Japan's Diet, Prime Minister Suga Yoshihide has been grilled over a media report that his son wined and dined top officials at the Communications Ministry. The report suggests rules may have been broken. Suga's son works for a company involved in satellite broadcasting, and officials cannot receive gifts or entertainment from interested parties.
Why did those officials dine out with your son?
I barely ever see him. I don't know anything about the matter.
Suga said he told his son that if his company asks questions, he should tell them the facts.
I understand that the Communications Ministry has started an in-house inquiry. In order to ensure people aren't left with any doubts, we need to deal with the matter according to the rules.
Vietnamese nationals living in Japan who lost their jobs due to the coronavirus pandemic have been given a chance to find new employment. Dozens took part in the online seminar organized by the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA. A lawyer explained to them the procedure for changing their visas to be able to work in different jobs. There are hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese in Japan who have visas as technical interns, but the worsening pandemic has seen many put out of work. The Japanese government is now allowing the laid-off trainees to change their resident status as a special measure, but a language barrier and other factors have hindered their job search. A 25-year-old construction worker in Ibaraki Prefecture northeast of Tokyo lost his job in November. As he was living in a company dormitory, he was forced to find new lodgings with the help of a support group.
I owe money to my parents who paid for me to come to Japan. I'm disappointed I haven't been able to pay it back.
The pandemic has also brought a halt to all incoming trainees, which is being felt in the building cleaning and nursing care industries. The president of a cleaning company says that the seminar can serve as an important step in finding new employees.
If we can hire people who will become the future workforce, it will improve Japan's employment environment and the work environment at my company as well.
JICA officials say they'll continue to provide information to both Vietnamese residents and Japanese employers in the hopes of arranging suitable matches. People in parts of the northern United States are bracing for a powerful winter storm once again. Our meteorologist Sayaka Mori has the forecast.
It's going to be a stormy Thursday for the United States, especially over the upper Mississippi Valley as well as the Great Lakes region. We are talking about heavy snow, powerful winds, and also freezing rain. The system will continue to head towards the northeastern United States, which is still struggling with the aftermath from a nor'easter. New York City, especially Central Park, has seen the heaviest snow in 5 years. So more snow is definitely not good news. And after the system moves through, temperatures will plummet significantly. Winnipeg, the high will be minus 26 on Sunday. Even Chicago will see minus 12 degrees during the daytime on Sunday as well as Monday. So do bundle up. And talking about snow, animals were having fun by the snow. Take a look at this. Cute guinea pig at the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington were having fun with some snow Wednesday. Zookeepers put together a tiny snowman with bits of food for the animals to enjoy, but the critters quickly knocked the snowballs over to get the yummy treats inside. The bits included carrots, lettuce, and green peppers. How cute they are. And snow is piling up in northern Japan as well. We've got nearly 2 meters of snow on the ground in Yokote. That's the all-time record for the area. It's even worse in Hijiori. 3.3 meters of snow is on the ground at this moment because nearly 1 meter